Hi, this is Kaleem of MarketPhotography.com. I put this video together to share with you how I reach my price structure for event photography. I'm doing this video in June of 2010. In fact, the World Cup is just winding up. Just to give you a time reference for this particular video, I currently charge $125 to $150 an hour, 2-hour minimum for event photography. And in this video, I want to try to explain to you how I arrived at that price. Initially, I had challenges coming up with the pricing, not only for event photography, but a lot of the other niches that I was in at the time. I started out in portrait photography, and there too I had trouble. But I had more trouble with event photography. And now I charge $125 to $150 an hour, 2-hour minimum. Just a couple of years ago, I was charging $75 an hour. And in this video, I want to share with you how I arrived at that price. What I did was I found other photographers were doing event photography, and some of them were charging per picture. So they would go to the event, take X number of pictures, and either sell them to the event planner or the person putting on the event, or they would know beforehand how many photos they would be taking. Well, let me tell you this. As a photographer, I don't compete on price, period. If you can get a better price or a lower price than what I charge, I wish you the best. I don't compete on price. My strength is in customer service. I think it's a rare photographer that can give better customer service than I can. And if they do give better service, well, they deserve the business. But that's where my competition or my strength in competition is, on the customer service, and I don't compete on price. But at the time, I determined how much it would cost me to show up at the event, take photos, process those photos, and get them back to the client. Sometimes the client is an event planner. Other times it's whoever the event is for. Currently, I work with event planners and just interact with them. They pay me, and I actually deliver the photos personally myself. Now, for a time, I allowed customers to go online and order their photos. I don't do that anymore. I told you earlier how customer service is important in my business. I make it a point to personally deliver all the photos that I take. Yes, they can order them online. Yes, it's convenient and all of that. But I'm a photographer. I'm old school that way. I happen to believe that real photography is person to person. Also, I find that since so many of my customers are letting customers go online and order and get their photos delivered, I've decided I can beat that by delivering them myself. It is no inconvenience for me because I shoot people within the geographic area that I want to do business in. But I determined the $75 an hour price when I first started in terms of how many pictures could I shoot in 2 hours, and then how much would it cost me to process those photos. Let's say in 2 hours time I shot 2 photos per minute on average. So at the end, that's 240 photos at the end of 2 hours. Let's say 40 of those I'll be eliminating, or maybe more, maybe less. But for a round number, that leaves me with 200. So the customer, at a minimum, gets around 200 photos. Now, competing with the photographers that are piecemealing photos to customers, I beat them hands down. So it's also in the packaging. I give them the 4x6 photos, but depending on who the person is being celebrated at the event, I'll give them 5x7s, 8x10s, and I'll put them in packages. If they are used to going online, I'll also put together an Animoto video that they can put on their Facebook page, their MySpace page. They can email it to friends. They love it. But also I find that my competing photographers aren't doing that. Or if they are, they're still doing it from a distance and not interacting with the people beyond taking the picture. I provide the ultimate customer service. And so I can compete accordingly because people prefer good customer service, and as a result, I've become their go-to photographer. not just for events, but they ask me, do I do other niches? Now, I don't do weddings, but almost all the other niches that they could ask for, I do. Once again, I started at $75 an hour, 2-hour minimum. I determined how many photos could I shoot in 2 hours' time, how much would it cost me to process those photos and deliver them to the customer. And then I also added, how much is it worth my time to be there for that length of time. Now, at that time, on the job that I was working, because my photography is part-time, I was making about $35 an hour. So I just charged $35 an hour there and added on how much it would cost me to have the photos processed. I would package them and deliver them. And at that time, adding $35 per hour plus the extra, it was $40, plus the profit I plugged in, that was $75 an hour. Now, as I said, I've gone up to $125 to $150 an hour. I'm producing the same photos, but my name is out there now. I've become their go-to photographer, and I'm the class photographer of the event photographers in my competing market, and I like that. And I hope that in this video I've kind of made some sense to you how I determine my price. Often, many of us photographers feel reluctant to charge people for photography. I'm a part of a photography forum where I hear people criticize those of us who charge more than it costs us to shoot the photography. But I don't hear that same criticism for restaurants. Let's face it, most of us have a home where we have stoves and kitchens and we prepare meals, yet we also go to restaurants. I don't hear people criticizing restaurants for charging anywhere from $20 to $100 per meal for the same meal we can do at home for less than $10. It's just how we're programmed to believe in pricing, products, and really it's about business. Many photographers are very good at photography, lousy at business. And so they feel that there should be no charge whatsoever for our time, for our skills, etc. Well, that's on them, and I wish them the best. I'm just explaining, I shoot, and I want to be paid for what I do. But trust me, I deliver such superior customer service that they always call me back, and they always refer me. Now, I have to admit, I get turned down a lot. I have a lot of people that will say, oh, I can get it done cheaper. And I let them go. I don't argue. I wish them the best. I used to recommend other photographers to them, but I stopped doing that because many of them weren't dependable. I do not compete on price, but I do pretty good in event photography, and I wanted to make this video, and hopefully I share with you some basic framework on how you can price your work. Visit us at marketphotography.com. Look around the site. Get more photography marketing tips. You've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. Photography marketing is needed because photos just don't sell themselves. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best in your photography future.